right. So today, what we're going to talk about is personal development and what the development is, and why do you want to create a plan for yourself. So, personal development is all about discovering and using your potential. One of the most significant benefits of meeting your potential is that you'll experience a much more stable life. And when you're living a more stable life, it brings a lot more contentment and happiness to not just you, but also your family and your community. And personal development helps you to become more stable. So, if it's okay, that's what we're going to focus on today is not just personal development, but also what does planning, this idea of planning looks like, and how can we help you out here at WJ Developmental and on here on recalibrateyourlife.net. So, additionally, personal development, one of the things it is, it's very vital for building healthy outcomes in all areas of your life, whether this is your mental, your social, spiritual, or emotional, or even your physical development. No matter what age we are still developing. And the question is, how are we looking back at our development and being able to say, here's an area I need to work on, here's an area that I'm doing fine, or when life happens to us, is a good time when we should know ourselves well enough to know whether or not any of these, our mental, our social, spiritual, emotional, or physical, if they're being thrown off balance. But they also communicate with each other, meaning that there has to be harmony between your mental, social, spiritual, emotional, and physical health. So let's talk about some other ways you can benefit when you are intentional about your personal development. And the idea here is to begin to be intentional. And one of the ways that you're intentional is by creating a personal development plan. And that plan can assist you in finding your purpose and developing your strengths and knowing your strengths, as well as helping you in developing your own self awareness. It also gives you the confidence that you may need to get out of your comfort zone. And we can definitely get stuck in our comfort zone because the idea of a comfort zone is so that we feel that we're able to reduce the amount of stress that shows up in our life. And one way that we do that is we create habits and traditions and consistency, so that we can have predictability about what's happening in our life. So we can sometimes become very comfortable in our comfort zone. And a good personal development plan will help you to improve your self awareness to know when you're in that comfort zone, because that comfort zone is also a place where you begin to feel stuck in life sometime. You know, things that happen in life, like whether it's, you've lost a job, or you've changed from, even a promotion, going from working at a certain level to now becoming the supervisor. Even though it's a beautiful thing, it can still cause some stress and anxiety to take place, which means that if you know yourself, you know when the stress is taking place, you know what anxiety looks like when you know in your body. In other words, we all live with some stress in our life and some anxiety in our life, but do we know what it looks like? Do we know how our body experiences it? And so a good personal development plan will help you to improve this self-awareness so that you are able to not become stuck in that comfort zone, but to move from that comfort zone to that growth zone. So this combination, what it does is that it ensures that you know your potential. And that's one of the things that we are always trying to do, is to get to that self-actualization where we know what our potentials are, and then be able to live up to them with intention. So let's explore 5 reasons you need a personal development plan. The first one is to discover your purpose. We are always seeking what is our purpose, and one way of doing that is being on this journey of self-discovery. Most people want to know why they are here, why they are so interested in doing certain things. Like, I love being here. I love helping other individuals, but there's a particular way I like to help individuals, whether it's therapy or coaching or educating. them through psychoeducation or courses. And so I know what my purpose is, and I also know what I'm passionate about. And at the same time, it provides me with information about my life and who I am and what makes me happy. And it's one of the reasons that I don't just do this work on a college campus, but outside of it through Recalibrate Your Life, through WJ Developmental, because for me, it goes beyond, just providing it to those who are on a college campus. The passion comes out in every way when I talk with people and hear that there's something in their life that they want some guidance on. And my guidance is by providing them with questions to get them to reflect on their own life, because quite often you have the answer. It is just that you need to talk it out, or the answer may not be what you like, because it may seem a lot harder, or it may cause some more stress, or you may not know what route to take. And sometimes sitting with someone and talking it out with them is what can help you to begin to get back on that journey in the way that you want to be on that journey. So if you want to know your life, your purpose in life, focus on your personal development and create a written person development plan to help you find it. As you discover what you think let me say that again. As you discover what makes you think the way that you do, challenge your thoughts. It's one of the things that gets you out of that comfort zone, and decide what facts you'll use to make sound decisions. When you do this, you may come across additional information, additional questions, additional answers that may lead you to a lot closer to your purpose. You are more likely to feel good about the ideas you have and the actions you take each day, because you know they will have a particular impact on you and your life and maybe others around you. So that's one. The second one is develop your strengths. Besides developing your strength, you have to know your weaknesses. But let's focus on your strengths right now. So once you discover your strengths, as you study yourself and you pay close attention to how you feel about your actions, you'll know what to do to develop. Focusing on what you are already good at is always preferable to focus on where you are lacking. And we're always going to focus on those strengths, but we cannot forget the weaknesses that we may have, or let's rephrase that, the areas you may need growth. And sometimes that area may be in your comfort zone, and we now need to move you out of that comfort zone so that you can begin to explore and find out where you should be focusing your attention. Once you discover your strengths, study yourself, meaning that you want to know your weaknesses. And knowing your weaknesses is not a bad thing. Thank you, Justine. So knowing your weaknesses is not a bad thing. All it does is it helps you to really understand where your strengths are. So once you discover your strengths, as you study yourself, because that's what you end up doing, is you end up taking a class, a 101 class on you, where you are the one that teaches it, and you are the one that is the student that is enrolled. And it's all about self-awareness building and self-discovery, getting to know you. And so you end up paying a close attention to how you feel about your own actions, and you'll know what to develop. Focusing on what you are already good at is always preferable to focus on, rather than on where you are lacking. And having some guidance is always a good thing, a good idea. And I'm going to talk at the end where that guidance can be provided to you. The other thing around knowing your strengths is getting additional training, or practicing and learning from others regarding the things you already are good at doing, because they actually can tell you. You'll hear people say to you, that you are really good at, and they'll let you know that you're good at doing something. And don't just dismiss that. Hear what they're saying and use what they're saying to say, oh, what am I doing good about? What is making that good? Even ask them that question. When someone says, I really enjoyed that workshop, my question is always, thank you so much. What was the one takeaway you're taking away from the workshop? What really stood out for you? And so that's my way of getting information back. Thank you, Justine. Justine saying that you're good at training and guidance. And so she's letting me know that that's one of my areas of strength. Often when we have these areas of strengths, people may not know in the background what you've been doing to maintain them. And one of the things by asking others is that you're listening for if they share with you some weaknesses that you have so that you can build on those. Well, if you want to, if that's part of your plan is to become stronger in that area, then that's what you do. And I use as my example when someone tells me, like for instance, it seems like you stress a lot around tech things, technology. And I'll say yes. And guess what? That's not an area where I want to build up my skills. But I'm good at listening to people as they share with me about technology. But that's not an area that I want to build up. But when someone says you're very creative around creating, let's just say something where I have to use technology, then I want to hear that because that I now understand that technology may not be my forte, but creating things using some type of technology is. And so that's what I want to listen to. But hearing those weaknesses from other people is so important. And so you know that you're naturally good at something that gives you joy and makes you better. So you may as well use your natural gifts. Knowing your weaknesses or areas where improvement is needed is vital too, and it allows you to get to know all of you. The more you know, the more you can design a plan to address any weak areas in your life, but also to figure out how to maintain your strengths and to repeat them over and over again. And another area that I want you to look at is getting out of your comfort zone. And I talked a little bit about that, but I just want to really hone in on that this idea of the comfort zone is that it's this good and bad. I don't know if I like saying it in black and white, but in other words, there are times in your life where you can get stuck in that comfort zone and it doesn't allow for growth. So while you do want to focus on what you are already good at doing, sometimes it takes time to see what that is, what you actually are good at. And it may mean stepping outside that comfort zone to be able to see what are some other things I may be good at as well. So getting out of your comfort zone has nothing to do with forcing yourself to focus on things you aren't good at doing. Instead, it may mean simply showing someone else what you're good at. So the comfort zone is another one. Let's see. How about boosting your confidence? We have something coming up on recalibrate your life that focuses on confidence because I think that that's an important area besides self awareness building. I think that those are two important areas that we should focus on. But as you develop yourself, you'll start experiencing success, and that experience will boost your confidence. Part of personal development is focusing on learning to have a positive mindset and taking the best care of yourself and also celebrating your skills and your experiences that you have. When your confidence is strong, you'll feel free. Or you'll feel free from being paralyzed by self-doubt or even from negative thoughts and emotions. When you hear yourself saying negative thoughts to yourself, to be able to think about those thoughts and see if it's something you need to address or if the negative thoughts that you have need to be changed around or understood from a different perspective. When you say that, oh, I am so horrible. If you've ever said that to yourself, are you really horrible? And would you allow someone else to say that to someone else? Or would you look at them and say, that wasn't a nice thing to say to someone else? Well, guess what? It's not a nice thing to say to yourself. So there's something more to this idea when you say that, oh, I'm so horrible. Is it just that that you forgot to exercise today and, I really have to create a plan instead of, oh, I'm so horrible. I didn't even get up and I exercised today. Instead, it is to change it from that self-doubt or the negative thoughts that you may have to be able to say more of that, I really have to think of how to devise a plan for me to make sure that I'm doing my exercise because I don't want tomorrow to have to say that, oh, I forgot to exercise, yesterday and I should do something about that. And then another day goes and you haven't done anything about it. So the idea is that there's the limiting beliefs that you may have or the self-doubts or the negative thoughts you may have about yourself may not be the best thing to get you moving on a self-development plan. The idea is to be able to say these things to yourself and have an understanding of why you have to move forward, move out of that comfort zone, move out of this place of talking down to yourself, to be able to say, yes, I did that, but now I need to change that. And self discovery tends to help us to begin to understand how we talk to ourselves, whether we talk a lot about ourselves in a negative or a positive way. The other thing is that self confidence not only helps us with to follow a plan based on our self discovery, but also on our goals. And I cannot speak enough about the importance of setting goals. And I shared in another video how, for me, when it comes to goal setting, that my goal setting may still take place in January, but come my birthday month, because it's far enough from that goal that I set in January, that I'm able to say to myself, okay, let me check and see where I am on my journey of reaching my goals. And so I reassess those goals. Another one, and I spoke of this just a little bit, about the importance of improving your self-awareness. Since personal development is all about you, it is all about you. Getting to know you and who you are is especially important. Knowing who you are allows you to lead with your strengths so that you can cope with your weaknesses realistically and also kindly, compassionately, without lying to yourself or others about who you are. And so self-awareness is the ultimate precursor to authenticity. And I would say authenticity and also actualization, where you get to know what your potentials are. But this self-awareness just shows up everywhere in your life, and it just tends to be, like, I guess you can say, a foundation for personal development, self-growth, personal planning. There's another one that I normally use: growth, development, and improvement. And so I think that self-awareness just is what holds it up to you, and it gets you to be very authentic about yourself, but also to see your potentials and your capabilities. So with that, I ask this question: do you have a personal development plan? So I want you to answer that for yourself. And is it written? One of the things that I've learned over the years: if it's not written, it doesn't happen, or it didn't happen. And so I asked that question again, and I would love to hear in the comment underneath the replay, you know, do you have a personal development plan? And you are much more likely to succeed at anything when you have a plan, and it is a written plan, or it's voiced somewhere. A personal development plan is a document that's set, and it's a set of facts and information that will help to guide you through and also direct you through the action and the habits that make up your life. For example, if you want to succeed at any dream, it starts with a goal. Then through smart goal setting, your goals become a plan that you can follow. And not only follow them, but also track it and even change throughout your life while remaining focused on your ultimate goal. So with that, or your ultimate plan. So with that, I would say that, you may have dreams, set some dreams for yourself. Just know that we have to move those dreams over into a plan. And I see in the chat area, let me see, I think I need that kind of a plan. Yes, we all do. We all need that plan. And even in career planning, I often say, let's get a plan together. I want to read something to you in just a second. Can you give me that over there? Thank you. So one of the things that you'll see on Recalibrate Your Life is a nice little handout. And that handout will have a list of ways that your personal planning can take place. So let me see here. So, and it may look a little different, but it looks something like this. And so what that personal development plan, it lets you know that there are different areas that can be included. And I'll just read off some of them. One could be dealing with change. right now we all are dealing with some type of change as we go through recovery from the pandemic. And so have you talked with someone about that change? Have you seen the effects of that change in your job or in your home, in your own personal life? Self understanding. Let's see, where you need clarity around a certain situation. One of the areas that I truly love, and if you know me well enough, you know that self care and stress management are two of the areas that I do a lot of talking about. And so, do you have a plan? Emotions, if you're not able to control your emotions, do you have a plan in place on how you would make those changes take place? Career wise, are there things, do you want to move in your career, or do you feel stuck in your career? Have you talked with someone to see how you can move forward? So you'll be able to take a look at this handout and be able to see how on this handout we can help you here at WJ Developmental through the recalibrate your life and self and creating your plan, but also and just talking out with someone how you can move forward in some of these areas that you may not have thought about. So once you look at the handout, look to see, is there an area that you may want to focus on? Are you having a hard time with communicating? Do you feel that you need more assertiveness, not aggressive, but assertiveness, which is very different? And or do you know what your vision or what you're passionate about? Let's just start at the basic, which is knowing yourself and your purpose. Has your purpose shifted? I remember talking with a few individuals after a workshop that were saying that they wanted to get out of the field that they had studied so hard and fell in love with. And what they realized was they still had the passion for the field that they were in. It was just the route they were taking in using their skills and their knowledge needed to shift somewhat. Because sometimes, working in organizations, and you get bogged down by paperwork and you begin to forget the joy that you walked into the field that you're working in with that career. You begin to forget it. Let me use as an example, as an educator, some of you, or even a mental health professional or a nurse, you get so bogged down by the paperwork and what we call the red tape that takes place when you work within specific systems, that you begin to forget what your passion is and your purpose for the work. Because let's just say you're a teacher and you're no longer teaching the subjects that you want because they needed you in another class for another subject, and you're not passionate about that subject. So there can be different things. Or you're a mental health professional and you work through certain insurance and you find that they have lots of paperwork. And so you're focusing more on the paperwork than you are with working with the clients, and the clients are the reasons that you got into the work. And so those are the things that can make you feel like you've lost your passion when actually you haven't. And so I'm hoping that I hear from you as far as just for a discovery call to talk about whether or not I can provide you with some focus on your goals, on your development, your personal development plan, on your career planning. So with that, I am going to stop in our live session here and just say, I hope to hear from you. You'll be able to see this in replay and watch it over and over again, but feel free to reach out to me, and anywhere on recalibrate yourlife.net, you can find me, you can chat with me, you can send me a message, and we can have a discussion about you. All right, so I look forward to seeing you on next Friday. And I forgot to even start with living it up, living it up. Oh, yeah. And so it's Friday, and Friday just happens to be my favorite day of the week. And it's not because it's the end of the week. I think there's another reason. It must be something about Fridays. Just, my mind is less on work and more on as far as the little things that go along with work. But I'll still have to figure out what is it about Friday that I love, because I know it's not just that it's Friday. There's something else about Friday. So with that, I'll see you all later. Have a good one, and go out there and live up your life.